RGB pizzas.
Hey old Tom, what's happening? How's that knockoff Game Boy going for you, man?
It's going good, thanks.
Just inside playing the 64-bit game system from Nintendo.
64 bits.
Yeah, this thing is schmicko, man. Full 3D graphics, no worries. The Nintendo 64, to me, is one of Nintendo's most iconic consoles. I still remember picking mine up on a Christmas in 1999. I was with my dad at the time. He bought it for me and my brothers. We took this thing home and there it was, 3D graphics. To me at the time, it was pretty mind-blowing. Before we start, I just want to show you how close the SNES got to 3D graphics. This is Star Fox on the Super Nintendo. And as you can see, the Super Nintendo, it's not really quite capable of 3D graphics. Great console, but just not quite there. They rectify this in Star Fox 64. With the Super Nintendo only being at 16-bit, it just wasn't enough to render 3D environments and worlds. Let's have a look at the Nintendo 64. The 64 first released in Japan on the 23rd of June 1996, followed by the 29th of September in North America and the 1st of March 1997 in Europe and Australia. The system using a 64-bit processing unit was to compete against the Sony PlayStation and the Sega Saturn. Both these consoles being a 32-bit made Nintendo stand out from the competition. Now I don't want to bore you with a history lesson, I just want to give my thoughts on the games, the controller, and the console, and overall the whole system itself. So let's have a look at the controller first. Now as ugly as it may be, this thing was pretty innovative for the time. Using the analog thumbstick for 3D movements was pretty mind-blowing. This is before the PlayStation's DualShock. Obviously you got a D-pad, left right button, C buttons, A and B and start, and of course a Z button. With a total of 10 buttons, I mean this thing wasn't too bad. Also you could get these controllers in all sorts of variants. I'm talking like limited edition ones, gold ones. This is just a Pokemon yellow and blue one. Donkey Kong controllers. There was a Fantastic series. There was so many varieties of different colors. Here we have the slot insert for memory cards, expansion packs, and of course the Rumble pack. This controller being the first controller ever to feature Rumble in video games. Now, how do you hold this thing, you may ask? Well, there's two sides of the controller. So for 3D movements, you'd be using the controller like this, utilizing this side of the buttons, and for 2D games, using the D-pad and probably the A and B. But this is a bit of a fault, so you can't hold the controller and access all the buttons at once, which is honestly not a good thing. Overall, it's not too bad of a controller. I mean, it has its faults, but like I said, for the time, pretty innovative with the thumbstick, so it gets a pass. But if this controller here does not suit your needs, then maybe this will. This here is the Hori third-party N64 controller, which is way better than the original. You've got two prongs to hold it conventionally. You've got a thumbstick, which is probably equivalent to a GameCube. This thing is really nice. You got your Z buttons on the back here, so whether you're left or right-handed, you can smash these with no problem. Left and right buttons still there, that's fine. This is probably the go-to if you want to use a third-party controller. But these aren't cheap, so if you can find these for a good price, I highly recommend buying one. This is a direct plug and play as well. This will work with any N64 system. Plug straight in and work. It also features the slot insert as well, so you can stick your memory cards and Rumble packs in there. This thing actually works better with the Rumble pack, so that's another thing to note. Look at them. They're like siblings. On to the console. Pikachu, what the hell? Ah yes, here we have the N64 Pikachu Limited Edition console. Now this thing is pretty damn cool, man. Definitely a redesign of the original N64. It's a lot longer on one side. Kind of looks funny, but I actually like it a lot. You got yourself a large rendition or mold of Pikachu up here. His cheeks there, they light up when the power's on or when the console's in use. You got yourself his foot there for the reset button. A Pokeball for the power button. And this thing is just very unique looking. I believe this is only a European and North American exclusive. Here in Australia though, we didn't get this. We got some dumbed, dulled down version of this. And I believe you could get an orange and light blue edition, but that was only a Japanese exclusive apparently. This console hasn't been modified. The power button has been changed to a 3-prong to enable use in Australia. Got yourself a flapper door, keep the dust out. Grill, keep the heat out. 4 controller ports, straight out the box. This thing supported multiplayer so hard. This console being the only console of that generation to have 4 control ports really made the Nintendo stand out. Also, it has internally 4 megabytes of RAM with an expandable 4 megabytes of RAM with the expansion pack, which was only utilized with a couple of games, which we'll talk about them later. Looking at the back of the console, you got another 2 vents for airflow each side. A massive power outlet adapter where your AV cables go. Let's fire this thing up. He looks so funny. We'll begin with Star Fox 64, or if you live in Europe, Violet Wars. Now this game came bundled in with the Rumble Pack accessory. Unfortunately, I don't have it today because it's still in transit. I bought one on eBay, so I'm still waiting. But let's have a look at the game anyhow. The game is an on-rail shooter where you take control of Star Fox and his team in a galactic military war flying throughout space to take down invading forces from the Andros Empire. We start at Corneria Base. Must say, these controls feel really good. Yeah, sorry about that rambling you heard before, ladies and gentlemen. That was the language. It was set to Lilet. We'll just change that to English. That's better. The language makes sense now.
Everybody stay alert.
This game runs pretty smooth. I mean, the frame rate does drop when you drop the bombs, but I mean, you expect that. Oh, shit, this robot. This is fun, man. This is a great game.
Use the brake.
Boost.
Let's go.
Alright, the boss battle.
All range mode. So this is Star Fox.
Overall, this is a fantastic game. Come on, what you got?
No. Hell you.
And he's done, bitch. Why not just add, this game has an awesome soundtrack as well.
We're heading out. All aircraft report.
You did it! I was worried for a moment.
You're becoming more like your father.
Alright, let's check out multiplayer. We'll go Battle Royale. Just bear with me, everyone. I've got to use a second controller. I've got no one else to play with. Now this takes me back, man. Used to spend so many late nights playing this with mates on a weekend. Now your objective is to obviously shoot the other player. The more damage you take, the less stable your R-wing becomes. Eventually you lose all your wings and you won't be able to fly. Yeah, the mini-map isn't the greatest, but I mean, for the time, it was something. It wasn't too bad. It works. Overall, if you find yourself getting an N64, I highly recommend checking out Star Fox. This game is a classic and still holds up today, by my standards anyway. I'd argue that this game is probably the best in the series. The rest of them, they're just not Star Fox games. This here is what Star Fox is all about. Fantastic game. Tune in next week as we take a look at the N64 Rumble Pack, the 4MB RAM expansion, and my favourite childhood game, Donkey Kong 64. I'm B's Pizzas, and I hate pineapple on pizza. And if you don't know, now you know.